The EFF is expected to elect its top 6 leadership as well as the 40 members of the Central Command Team. And SABC News reporter Natasha Phiri joins us live from NASREC to give us the latest update on the People's Assembly. Natasha, good to have you with us. So has the closed nomination session concluded at this stage?
Alicia, we're actually nowhere near to starting. Remember the last time we had reported that the Secretary General of the EFF, Mr. Marshall Dlamini, is presenting his organizational report. And Alicia, actually, the organizational report is 330 pages long, which is over 8,000 words. Thereafter, there still needs to be that Treasurer's report by the outgoing Treasurer General, Ompile Maudwe. And then the further commissions, then it's lunch, and then the nomination election, voting, and of course the announcement of those top 6 officials. But of course, as SABC News, we keep these conversations going. I'm joined by a person who's no stranger to us members of the media, Mafia Fane, who's an EFF councillor. Mafia, thank you so much for joining us at SABC News.
Thank you very much for having us in your platform. It's always a privilege.
So, I mean, we were talking earlier on as members of the media with, the outgoing leadership of the EFF, and of course, he raises the issue of, the policy or the constitutional amendments. You look under the organizational character and redesign. Of course, there's that, I would say, by talking to delegates, contentious issue of dissolving the student command and, establishing a youth command. But you look at the track record of the student command. I mean, I think in the year 2023 and 2024, you won 17 out of 24 SRC elections in various universities. What is the sentiment of some delegates, or perhaps yours?
No, well, discussion documents are meant for one reason and one reason alone, that is to invoke a conversation amongst delegates that are attending the conference. And what is there in the discussion documents is a proposal by the discussion document committee to say, why as an organization don't we look at expanding the mandate of the youth structure of the EFF? Because as of yet, the EFF does not have a youth command or a youth formation, but it has a student command, which its mandate is strictly in institutions of higher learning, that is universities and TVET colleges. But now we've got issues that are affecting the youth outside the gates of institutions of higher learning. Then, we are going to commissions now. I'll be sitting in the commission also of organizational redesign and character. I'm interested in that commission because it deals very much with the framework of building an organization that will be able to respond to the issues of our people. So in doing so, I will be proposing personally as a delegate to say maybe we should not look at dissolving the Students' Command entirely. And I think dissolving is a very hard way. We must not look at decommissioning the Students' Command, but rather let us think of having these two organizations coexisting, since we see a need that there is a youth that is not represented in communities, in fact that is not organized. Because remember, one of the mandates of the EFF Students' Command as per Section 32 of the Constitution is for the Students' Command to rally, organize and mobilize students behind the struggle of the EFF. Now the Youth Command is going to be able to rally the general youth in the society behind the EFF and organize the youth vote behind that of the EFF. So we've got that part that is missing, where there's a youth that is not at school, it's not at work, it's just out there and it's gallivanting in the streets, and that's what we're seeking to really correct. So my view is that the EFF Students' Command really doesn't have to be decommissioned. It's a good structure. I'm from the EFF Students' Command. I'm a councillor today, a product of that organization. But, well, the leadership is not imposing anything. The leadership is just saying, let's have a discussion. Can't we then now look at working this thing differently? Because we are looking at attracting many young people into this organization called the EFF.
And you being a councillor as well, there's also proposition to increase the membership from 100 to 200. There's also a very important issue of doing away with, regions and introducing sub-regions to ensure that the EFF is actually everywhere. But more importantly, within your own structures, that, EFF members actually do know who actually represents them.
Yeah. No, well, what the EFF is trying to do here, it is trying to set itself up as an organization that will have the capacity to organize mass power, and that mass power will subsequently translate into political power, the very same political political power was speaking about must ultimately translate into economic power. Then people of South Africa deserve a government that will be responsive and is going to be able to run a socialist agenda that will see equity in terms of the disbandment of resources in the country. And now, what the EFF is trying to do is trying to bring in efficiency in its structures. Regions, as things stand, I am from Nhlanzeni region. It's a region that comprises of two sub-regions. It's Mbombela and Nkomazi. Now, if you are a regional leader in Nhlanzeni, you have to reach branches, 78 branches in the whole region. It's practically impossible, especially for an organization that is underfunded like ourselves. So now we are trying to make sure that we reduce the scope, so that when we reduce the scope, there is efficiency in terms of the work that needs to be done.
Mafia Fane, thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry for getting your surname wrong. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, just explaining some of those policy discussions that will be taking place behind closed doors. Of course, Marshall Dlamini, the outgoing Secretary General, is still presenting his organizational report. Alicia, we are still here as SABC News. Samgela Masego is also here. And of course, we will be giving you the latest in regards to what's happening here in NASREC, the south of Johannesburg. Back to you in studio, Alicia.
Thank you so much. Natasha Phiri, live to us from NASREC.